The maintenance office of a naval air facility is usually a pretty busy place. The one where you work may look a lot like this one. The activities in the office are basically the same from facility to facility. Some of the work can be interesting and even exciting, and some of it can seem somewhat routine and boring. Take, for example, the job that this AZ is doing. He's filling out a form, actually a postcard, with information about one of the fixed-wing aircraft in his custody. Basically, he's copying some numbers either from the A sheet or from the AEs. This seems to be one of those somewhat routine and boring. I'd never guess that this is, in fact, one of the most important jobs in the Navy for maintaining the flight worthiness of our aircraft. Excuse me there. Could you tell us what it is you're doing?
I'm filling out these cards, writing down a lot of numbers for every aircraft we have here. I have to do it every month.
Those cards are NAVAIR forms 13920/1. Do you know what they're used for?
Something about keeping track of the number of Gs an aircraft is pulled.
Well, that's the basic idea. But there's a lot more to it than that.
Like what?
Well, for starters, the Navy needs to know how each of its aircraft is used and how severe the use is.
Right. I know about all that. But so what? It's still pretty boring.
Agreed. But structural fatigue is directly connected to flight safety. We're not just keeping records. The paperwork that's so boring for you helps us flight-worthy and safe aircraft for the aircrew. Let's look at it another way. Let's suppose you finally got that car you've been dreaming about. Go ahead. Imagine that. Come on, you can do better than that.
Okay. How's this?
Good choice. Now, with a car like that, you're going to want to keep very thorough records. You're going to mark down everything you can about that car. The mileage, when it's tuned up, when the oil's changed. Everything you need to know to keep it in perfect running condition.
I sure would.
Because if you don't, and that car breaks down, you're out of luck. Of course, if your car breaks down, you can just pull over to the side of the road. Well, you can't do that in your F-14. At this point, we should look at the card itself in some detail, so we're clear about exactly what information goes where. The first row of blocks tells us who you are and what aircraft you're reporting on. We want to know the aircraft model, the aircraft serial number, and the custodian or reporting activity, and that's you. The date can be either the last day of the month for which you are reporting, or the date of a special occurrence, which is a situation report. We'll get to the difference in a moment. In this block, you enter the total number of field landings the aircraft has undergone since manufacture. In this block, you enter the total number of all types of landings, including arrestments, that the aircraft has undergone since manufacture. The previous 6 blocks should add up to this total. In this block, you enter the total number of ship and field catapults the aircraft has undergone since manufacture. Finally, in this block, you enter the total number of flight hours and tenths of hours the aircraft has undergone since manufacture. Now, if that all seems like a lot of information, remember it's all contained in a Navy instruction. NAVAIR 13920.1 Echo.
I have it. Right here. So like I said, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is you can do everything as outlined in the instruction and still mark down bad numbers.
How can that happen? Like I said, I just copy the numbers I'm given.
What if a CAG is malfunctioning and it gives you false readings? Or what if the mechanics write down incorrect numbers? Or what if you copy the numbers incorrectly?
Nobody's perfect. Besides, why don't you guys at the Naval Air Development Center catch the mistakes? After all, you need the information.
We try, but imagine our problem. We don't have the logbooks that you have. Plus, we receive about 4,000 postcards every month. We have to depend on you to fill those cards out correctly. Like that card you're working on.
What about it?
We'll take a moment to examine the numbers you've recorded. Notice that window 3 has a higher number than window 2. This implies that the airplane has exceeded 6 Gs more frequently than 5 Gs, which is impossible. But the counters roll over now and then, so the readings may well be valid. But if you were to compare this card with last month's card for the same airplane, you could subtract readings and find out how many counts were registered for each level only during the last month. This, in fact, is what we do, and you could do it too. If you did and found that the increase in window 3 was greater than the increase in window, take just an extra moment to analyze whether or not an entry is logical. Look at these cards. They're all actual cards we've received, and they show typical mistakes which create big problems for us. You'll notice that we've blanked out the aircraft serial number and custodian. The total aircraft flight time is only 4.7 hours, the same as the flight hours since the last report. This would appear to be a new aircraft, but from all these takeoffs and landings, we know that can't be the case. In fact, this number is wrong. It doesn't reflect total hours since aircraft manufacture. Here's a similar problem, but in this case, we have no flight hours since last report and no total aircraft time. In this case, instead of the aircraft model, the type equipment code has been incorrectly filled in. For this P3C, no zeros should appear in these blocks. Since these categories do not apply to the P3, they should be left blank. Here's an instance of a reporting activity correctly showing the transfer of an aircraft on a situation report card. However, they also sent in a monthly report, although they were not required to do so. This is difficult for us to sort out.
Gee, a lot of those just seem like careless mistakes. But you can't really blame us. We have plenty of paperwork.
We know that, and we don't want to make your job any more difficult than it already is. But remember, your part in the SAFE program is an important one. At times, it may seem like routine paperwork. It isn't. You're part of an important team, helping the Navy's research and development community maintain and improve the flightworthiness of our aircraft.